And we're live. Good morning, good evening, good afternoon, wherever you are in the world, and welcome to another scene for the living world of darkness, rage across New York. We will actually be setting the scene off of the set. Scandalous, I know. And what we will be doing is setting this as we pan in on the Seeker's Pack House, the apartment that they live in with the kinfolk, with their current guest. And point of note being that especially as they come near the pack house, 10 Point will unlock and open the door so that Jason can carry in poor Aiden, who's been piggybacked. But particularly as they move in and that familiar crow comes to perch nearby outside, she will take a moment of her time to appeal to this crow to return to the den father, to inform him that she has taken charge of one of the cubs, that she apologizes for not asking in advance, but needed his broad shoulders, and that any necessary punishment can fall on her, and we'll ask it to carry this message back. And for the sake of it being said, since she does maintain her chiminage with the pigeons, even though the place that they're looking over it has moved, should the crow return before such a time as the cub is returned, it will probably be fluffed at by a veritable flock of pigeons. So it can stay close, certainly, and it may be able to keep an eye through the windows, but it will not be within eavesdropping range. Because there are just certain things that the den father doesn't need to know, and 10 Point is not going to make the exception for this particular crow spirit in this case. But with any luck, that doesn't even become a thing. And the crow spirit, the crow/crow spirit goes ahead and flippity flaps off to report to the den father that 10 Point is a bad girl that stole a puppy. Like she do. But all the same, that brief exchange aside, and probably an expenditure of Gnosis, just as a polite thank you to the spirit for doing the duty it's already been set to, she'll go ahead and move in behind the other two, closing and locking the door behind. And for Saoirse's sake, she has been bombarded first with the pair of them just having a good time, some positive overflow as they were at the party. Though as the party wore on, it has become a veritable bombardment of memories and images of Darcy. Oh boy. And definitely the positive vibes stop from 10 Point's end as they have gotten him onto Jason's back, carried him back, and are probably now with some guidance depositing him inside on the couch while 10 Point grabs up a small waste bin to stick right next to him in case he gets sick, grabbing water out of the kitchen, and generally feeling very like overflowing, just a mild frazzled sensation. Definitely tense, definitely unhappy.
Jason is relieved that 10 Point is talking to the crow because he does have some anxiety about that and does not particularly want to get in trouble after having been such a good boy at the party while everyone else was not. But mostly he is concerned about Aiden, whom he will carry inside and look for a couch or something to carefully deposit him on.
Yeah, the the couch is free. Saoirse is she's not really beside herself, but there's definitely worry on her face as Aiden is brought in. Um, Instead of rushing to his side, she figured she'd stay here, take care of him here. So yeah, she'll just instruct Jason to put him on the couch.
Aiden, once he's plonked down on the couch, he's still very pale, shirtless as well, God help him. Um, his eyes are big and bulgy. He seems to be just rubbing his hair, like absentmindedly, staring. As more for both the packmates. Just the packmate is assaulted, various times. As he rubs his chin, Jason can clearly see he's just completely conflicted and very lost looking.
Jason ultimately just kind of stands there looking decidedly awkward, as it belatedly occurs to him that 10 Point could probably have carried Aiden just fine, and he doesn't actually know what he's doing here.
Yeah, this thought occurs to him, and as he is thinking this and thinking, he really doesn't have any business being there. He's clearly not needed. Again, 10 Point will appear in his vision as she hurries to set water on the coffee table, well within reach. In fact, taking a moment to kind of get Aiden's eyes, like snapping if she needs to get him to refocus, and making sure that he sees the water glass as it is set down. But as before, much like at the party, he can see that that kind of ease that she had, the looseness, the comfort is completely gone, and her expression is not especially pleased. It's anxious, it's kind of tight, it's kind of stiff, but she's definitely not looking her best. Like, keeper or no, fostering or no, there's obviously an emotional toll being paid.
Saoirse will look at them and will say, so what exactly happened?
They were throwing a party on the Sept, a rave. Bunch of kinfolk, bunch of Garu. Desmond got through his rite of passage. And he just kind of waves awkwardly.
And they were celebrating.
Yeah.
She nods. I'm just going to say that she was visiting Alexis, and as soon as she knew that something was wrong, she came home. So.
He wanted to have a proper party, Raya. He said he hadn't been to one in a long time.
She nods. He kneels down next to Aiden. Tries to get him to see if he can even see her.
She touches him and there's like a marked delay. To like look over. Oh. Why? How did you get here?
You're home now, Aiden.
All right. Yeah. And look around. Right. Yeah. I'm home.
Yeah, frazzled 10 Point departs to get that pre-mentioned wastebasket because Lord knows what the combined effects of all the alcohol and the pills is going to be, but she imagines it's not going to all stay inside. And she will set that right by his knee and then kind of fold down next to the arm of the couch.
Yeah, Saoirse will make sure that she gives room for 10 Point to set it down.
You didn't see her here, did you, Saoirse?
Here? No.
All right. And look around again. You see like a marked, very slow response time. As he like will just turn and look back and just nod again. His eyes can just bulge.
I think the best thing to do is just to give it time. But Saoirse is remaining calm and seemingly collected, but 10 Point can definitely get that she is trying her best to hold it together for Aiden.
Jason is just kind of looming in a corner.
Creepy looming.
Looking really awkward. and
will-
slightly embarrassed.
10 Point will actually, after a pause, looking up at Aiden, looking at Saoirse, and then finally craning around to look at poor Jason, will kind of get up with a bit of a resigned sort of sigh and pull over one of the, not a big armchair, but, nice padded, like, sit at home chair and look to him.
Yeah. Thank you, Raya.
You have been told about our worst, I'm sure, and you've heard about our best.
Yes, Raya.
You don't have to be formal here. But it's only fair that you see the worst. It's not what everyone thinks it is. It's not as violent. It's not as loud.
Saoirse just nods like, hi. She'll look over to Jason and offer him a soft smile. It's as genuine as it can be in this situation. And she just gestures for him to sit.
He will sit down. He'll take the chair, looking slightly less awkward, perhaps, but still kind of almost embarrassed on Aiden's behalf. Feeling kind of like it's something very private is clearly being displayed, and he's not comfortable with it.
At some point, we'll kind of anxiously revert to autopilot, and we'll actually, just kind of, not straight stiff-leg it, but that obvious, it's been drilled into her so many times that this is what you do, that she ends up going into the kitchen and putting on a kettle, and will eventually emerge again with everything that Jason might need to make himself tea on a tray, laying it out in front of him, and finally coming back around and kind of gingerly reaching out to put a hand on in Aiden's hair on his head, just kind of stroking it back out of his eyes.
Okay. Every response is very delayed.
Saoirse, she knows that this isn't something that can be talked. Like Aiden can't be talked out of this. It just has to wear off. So she's gonna get up and gonna sit on the couch and just pull Aiden into her lap.
I could have sworn. We used to do this all the time. Just go out. I could have sworn.
I know, Aiden. I know.
It looked exactly like her.
Runs her fingers through his hair.
At some point, we'll take a moment again to ease over alongside Jason, kind of putting if of all things, something of a supportive hand very briefly on his shoulder. Mariah and I are very fond of you, and I know we've offered, and I know it's strange. You should know what you're being offered, the good and the bad.
Saoirse just nods.
He kind of nods slowly, still looking slightly lost, although he is beginning to have an inkling of just precisely what, or rather who, Aiden is seeing. Because to an outsider, it has not been clear.
And
Right.
But he has a guess now.
Point's going to take a walk around, close the various doors out to the hallway, out to the bedrooms, make sure that people are in bed or out for the night or whatever they're up to. But we'll all in all just make sure that the room has been, for all intents and purposes, closed. And then we'll come back around and this time sit herself on the arm of the couch. Why don't you tell him about Uriah?
Again, delayed response. What?
There's kind of a helpless look thrown at Saoirse.
Yeah, Saoirse's talk to us about who you're seeing.
Oh. Alright. Her name's Smile. Looks past Saoirse, looks past 10 Point, looks past Jason, over to the corner of the room by, say, like a table where they normally have dinner, and he'll look over and smile over at it. It's a big, dreamy smile. Her name's Darcy Ellsworth Lynch. It's my wife. She was 21. She was a model. Met her at a bar one night. I chatted, and she's not exactly one of us. She's something else. Didn't matter to me at the time. But I found out that she was dying. And she told me to leave. And a smile, looking over in a different direction at one of the other corners of the room by one of the couches across from him. I didn't care at the time. To be perfectly honest, I'd never been in love before. Didn't know what it felt like. And every time I looked into her eyes, I could feel my heart beating about 1,000 miles. The rage that I had didn't seem to matter anymore. She's dead now. Not any position, not anything this nation can ever give me can fill the hole she left behind. And that's when his shoulders begin to sag. His eyes, again, still very wild and big, but his pale skin goes paler, and he just seems to look suddenly exhausted.
Saoirse just holds him.
I had to make a choice between Sheila and my honor and her. And I chose the nation. Didn't I? Zil won't say it to Saoirse, won't say it to 10 Point, won't say it to Jason, he just says it to this chair.
Saoirse nods. Yeah. When Aiden kept apart from Darcy, he was pretty bad off.
And She got so bad with the way she used to, didn't you? Again, to a table. That I had to carry her in one time and pretend like everything was fine.
Jason winces visibly. And has not managed to make himself tea. But he's still listening.
We got married in Las Vegas, by the way. There's like a videotape.
I'm still
Yeah.
salty you didn't invite me.
Yeah, I have it somewhere. He'll look over. Again, it's such a delayed movement. Like he just nearly falls off the couch in one motion because he just seems to have no reflexes at all. It's somewhere in my room. We even apologized on the video that people couldn't make it. It's kind of a spur of the moment thing.
Trisha will smile and squeeze him. Like, she's really not bitter about it. It's just, she was trying to tease him.
We had an apartment together in the Bronx. Still go there sometimes. She used to tell me that she was going to get better. She used to tell me not to worry. She used to say that life was worth living and that you had to live life with every breath in you. She would have made a good Fiona.
Saoirse nods at that.
I could have sworn that was you. Again, he'll look over back to the other table across the room, staring.
If Jason will allow it, Saoirse will link him to the pack via mind speak, so that he can understand what's going on.
So yeah, I guess the question becomes: is she going to say anything to him?
To Jason? Oh yeah. She'll look at him and she'll say, if you'd like to know exactly what's not being seen, what's going on between the three of us, I can let you experience that. I can link you to us. She there?
I think she is eating. Meredith, you are muted. Will he consent to a mind link? Is assuming she's still at the
Sorry.
computer.
Yes.
There you go.
I muted it so it wouldn't make horrible scraping noises. I'm sorry.
It's
Yes.
okay. It's okay.
He still looks kind of high anxiety right now, but just nods mutely.
Then spend a willpower point and link Jason to us via Mindspeak.
And are you linking him? Well, I guess it doesn't matter because you'll open it to the whole thing. At that point, we'll.
Yep. It is
like
the channel is open.
Yeah, as soon as he's put in open channel, at point will extend an effort, and there. I mean, it's pure roleplay at this point because there's no real hard rules for how a mind link works.
Right.
So 10 point will immediately like extend out, like she's always open, not always spilling over, but always open and easy to read. But she will almost immediately move to kind of act as a filter for Jason's sake, just because what Aiden's throwing out right now is pretty hard and pretty heavy. And it's already killing her inside, so clearly full exposure without any stepping stone in between might be a little much. But yeah,
For
she'll
sure.
immediately move to act as a buffer as best she can
Oh yeah. I'm just
to take the worst edge off.
Yeah, like for roleplay wise, just before 10 point hits the buffer, like yeah, he is visibly assaulted by images of her.
Images and all of the associated emotions. Yay!
Yeah, which is just pure raw grief and
There's actually, which should probably make it a bit more sadder. Actually, there's pure raw grief, but there's pure happiness as well at just being able to see her in front of him.
oh Jesus Christ. Yeah, Saoirse is trying her best to navigate those herself, and remain steadfast for Aiden. But she figures if she in her thought process is if he wants to be part of us, then he should experience us in a way that he will be experiencing us later. So,
yep.
Before there is a buffer between himself and Aiden, with the assumption that 10 point is honestly, let's be realistic, struggling, and will probably also be a little slow, just a little. There is a clatter and a crash as the entire tray of tea things is knocked to the floor, and a quiet sound of protest from the chair as its arms are gripped more tightly than it was really built to deal with, although not yet destructively.
Yeah, we'll even see 10 Point's eyes kind of close as she really musters the focus to provide even a moderate filter, something to take the worst of the edge off of it. And after the clatter, after the groan, she'll rouse up to check on him. And she still has an Aiden in her lap. Poor Saoirse.
yep. For Saoirse's part, what Jason is getting through the link is that she is trying her best to hold it together for Aiden, but she is she's very clearly worried about him. But he can also feel just how much Saoirse cares about Aiden. Like, their bond is very deep.
Deep bonds all around. Yep. At some point we'll hurriedly scramble up off the floor. And again, put a hand out, just a supportive touch on the shoulder. You can close it off, either all together or some. Your mind is yours.
It's clear that he hears her, but at least initially it's very difficult to do so. It is far, far too easy to understand exactly what is going on in Aiden's head right now. And there is fleetingly, because he is a man of common sense, a wish that he too had taken those pills instead of turning them down. So it's a struggle to close himself back off, partially because it is not something that Jason is used to having to do. It is not how his brain works. Not yet. He doesn't have the practice.
Yep. No, that is why 10 Point is providing, at least for the moment, a buffer while he figures out how to flex muscles, essentially, that he doesn't know how to use.
Yep.
And only when she feels him starting to get a grasp of what he's getting in, what he's putting out, will she ease up a little bit. And he may get like she is doing her very best to police her own emotional output, but there's probably just kind of a raw edge to the contact with her mentally.
To some degree, before Jason managed to throttle things down, both input and output, it is very likely that everything got worse instead of better for a solid minute.
As Jason is struggling, he'll feel his mind touched with comfort from Saoirse. Like she reaches out and tries to provide warmth and a kind of a safe, like reassuring him that he's safe. So she's going to pull double duty and comfort them both.
After a while, there's another creak from the chair while Jason removes his fingers from the upholstery, which looks a bit strained and has probably popped a staple or two. And very shakily and very clearly, because it is something else to concentrate on, leans over and tries to kind of rearrange the hash that is the tea things on the floor. Like that needs to stand up here. And oh, there's water everywhere. That's bad. And this kind of like mental monologue is like trickling through the link, which he's not holding closed very effectively.
10 Point will, instead of immediately leaping up to get it for him, will kind of provide the weirdest little sense of ride along and just the inherent knowledge of where there's a hand towel in the kitchen. So that as it's pretty clear that he's using this as a form of distraction from the emotional onslaught. So yeah, she's going to let him have the knowledge necessary to get up and get it himself so that he can continue to use it as a distraction while she eases back from the chair to the couch. Again, reaching out. And this time putting the hand on Aiden's shoulder.
Okay. The link changes then, as for everyone, now that everyone is actually connected, the images of Darcy begin to fade as well. They come down his head. As Aiden shakily lights a cigarette. It's a very clumsy attempt. As
Saoirse will relinquish her grasp enough to let him do that.
Shaky anyway, but
If
they will
need
see.
be, 10 Point will reach out and steady his hand.
Once the nicotine hits his body, they'll see him stare as the final image of Darcy, just one last smile, just fades right in front of him, as that happiness just dies. He just this grim acceptance just returns back to the link. Is it, like you do see the kind of flicks of tears touching the side of his eyes. He just closes his eyes again and opens them. It was nice, even if it was for a couple of hours.
And Jason, who has found the towel and is carefully mopping up the floor, just kind of nods.
Forgot what she looked like. I wanted to see.
I don't
She's
know if this
beautiful.
will. I don't know if this will give you any comfort, Aiden, but you know that I have a perfect memory, and now that I have seen those happy images, at any time you want to see them, I can project them back to you.
Bite his lip. We'll see.
I won't do it unless you ask, but just know that it's there.
It's not her though, is it?
It's your memories of her. It's her, but
It's not
she
her.
she kind of like she'll take her finger and just kind of tap his temple. It's her in there. How you remember her.
It's not her.
Nora.
No, it's not.
No, Aiden, it's not. I'm sorry. She'll rub his back.
He just nod his head slowly, almost like as he slowly kind of comes back and slowly begins to sober. Still looking very worse for wear, very tired, very worn.
But
I didn't hurt that girl that looked like her, did I?
Nora.
You never went near her. She's fine.
Nod his head. I just thought I could go out again. Feel it. I missed going out with her. He just looked down very embarrassed then suddenly.
He'll be able to eventually. Probably.
Yeah. I don't think the drugs are for me anymore, I don't think.
Maybe not.
Still, though, at least I'm not. It's nothing like I want to do what I was doing. It's nothing I thought. You lean back against probably against Saoirse because he's moving back further into the couch.
yep, and Saoirse's had an arm around him, whatever. So if he wants to lean back against her, he can totally do that.
I know she's gone. It was just nice to see her again.
Saoirse nods. I know that feeling. Believe me.
And Jason nods again.
10 points, the only odd one out on this one. It is probably just still sitting on the arm of the couch and looking at her hands.
Which Saoirse is actually glad that 10 Point doesn't know the pain of losing somebody you love like that. It's not a pain she would wish on anybody. And she feels sad that 3 out of 4 in the room have experienced it.
Having finally finished writing everything on the tea tray and mopping up the water, Jason kind of looks down at the wet rag in the tray, which is still on the floor, and then just kind of sets the towel on top of it and slowly eases back down into his chair.
Saoirse will flood the link to everybody with just comfort, feelings of comfort, and basically she's wrapping everybody up in a hug mentally.
Do you know, Simon asked me before about love and how he felt. They all sound so full of promise, don't they?
You never know.
No. No, you don't. Can't pick the people you fall in love with.
No, you can't.
Nope.
Point just numbly shakes her head.
Still, it could be worse. At least I didn't punch Colin in the face.
That's a good thing.
I mean, I was going towards, when he grabbed me, and I have to admit, I thought he was going for me girl, so I was about to swing. He grinned slightly to himself, trying to almost lighten the mood by adding some humor to it.
Mm-hmm. Saoirse will actually crack a smile at that. She likes Aiden, seeing Aiden try to be lighthearted.
It would have been something to watch, that's for certain.
Probably would have got my ass kicked, but hey.
Probably.
He's never ruined. I can handle myself anyway. Grin.
Of course you can. You're Aiden motherfucking Lynch Krause.
Yeah. Mighty Ragabash, eh? You just look down and just looks pretty depressed, to be honest. You know what I mean? There's no come downs are not a nice experience.
This is about where 10 Point finally moves off of the arm of the couch, and with Aiden having been redirected a bit away from the edge, does much as she did the last day or two, and just kind of like once she slides down onto the seat, wreathes herself up under one of Aiden's arms. Kind of about time her head tucks up against his shoulder. She'll begin kind of haltingly to do much the same as Saoirse's been doing. And she's a little more intense than just a vague sense of warmth and comfort. There is just a very open, very giving, just straight love and adoration start flooding in.
Saoirse will fucking welcome that shit. Like, oh, thank you.
There is actually, at least initially, resistance from Jason to even the positive feelings. Perhaps especially the positive feelings, actually, if one is perceptive enough to tell the difference.
Saoirse is. She'll note it. She won't say anything.
Yep, he can buffer for himself, kind of bumper it off. But yeah, she starts for the first time reaching out past her own boundaries, as it were. Yeah, just very openly, very again, very very openly and very givingly, just floods it.
But the warmth and the welcome and the love is met with subconscious rejection. But this is not real. Pain, suffering, longing, those are real. Those are easily accepted before they're shielded from. But this, nah.
I won't say it doesn't have a bit of a raw edge to it, but it is there. Though it is easy to understand, yeah, why it would seem fake. At the very least, the other two are very accustomed to it. She's doing her best. It's not a steady flow. It does halt. It does stutter, but she's trying.
Reach over and give 10 point a stroke of her hair. Did I worry you, did I?
Yes, Rhea.
Just nod and give her a pat on the head.
We were all worried.
At which point it evens out some.
Saoirse will cycle the feelings back. And
Look over.
she won't
Look over.
intensify them, but she'll cycle them back.
He'll look over at Jace again. Just looks like he has bags under his eyes. Sorry for you getting you into trouble, probably.
And he shrugs, slowly relaxing his guard, actually. The stuttering making things more believable. I don't think there's going to be a cub yet that hasn't gotten in trouble. Might as well be for something useful.
I already accepted responsibility. I'll be fine.
He didn't hear, did he?
No.
Just gives one nod. I'm sorry, at least. And I can do a right of contrition if you want me to do so. Putting you out like that.
He kind of blinks a couple times. You're serious?
How wouldn't it be?
That's a lot of trouble to go to for something that you didn't do on purpose, nor have a lot of control over.
Man owns up to his mistakes. It's not fair on you either to be putting you here. Especially someone you are starting to like, so you feel that extra bit of guilt in you.
I'm thinking I'd probably end up here eventually anyway, one way or the other, whatever does happen.
That's not a bad place.
Besides, I'm not going to go kicking you while you're down. Not like this.
You'd be one of the first. And grin. Let's appreciate it.
It's still your choice in the end, Anrai, and you don't have to hurry into a pack, even after your rite of passage. But perhaps now you understand better than any of your siblings all that comes with being in a pack and sharing a link. We're connected like this at all times.
Isha will nod at that.
It is not usually so loud.
No. You got... It's not typical.
Be dangerous if it was.
I don't think any of us would function if it was.
Pretty much,
Yeah, so even 10 Point gets a weak smile at that.
But I, like 10 Point said, you're not obligated, but if you decided to join us, we would definitely welcome you.
You
Whatever
need somebody of a sunnier disposition to balance all this shit out.
Saoirse just crack up at that, like, oh.
Aiden raises an eyebrow with surprise.
10 Point does crack. She cracks a smile, though promptly hides it in Aiden's shirt because he's acting more himself, and it's so comforting.
Yeah, Saoirse, she doesn't even try and hide it. She actually will she'll crack a smile and even kind of a bit of a laugh. She'll stifle the laugh, but she's just like, oh god. She'll just nod.
I mean, you're not wrong, really. Got a grin at himself. We're a bit of a mess, aren't we?
We're one big hot mess, but we're each other's mess. We'll squeeze Aiden tighter and reach over to 10 Point.
And yeah, 10 Point will issue her next bit through the link rather than verbally. So it's a mental voice rather than a physical one. When things are good, they are very, very good. When they are bad, they can be very, very bad. The Viana are people of feeling. 3 of us linked together is a lot to contend with.
There is a feeling of affirmation at that statement. Yes.
Bit overwhelming, definitely.
You managed well.
You did.
You did.
You can kick the shit out of me. Grin is, still a very weary, tired one, but a grin.
It's still an option.
You could try.
Right now, I might win.
Probably. You have a good chance.
It's about when 10 Point wreathes an arm kind of around Aiden's middle and adopts what is comically more of a pout than anything else. Like, no, but I'm comfy. Why would you do that? Just no. Essentially. And she'll leak the overtones to it just to make sure that it comes across as nothing terribly possessive, but it's just kind of like but no, though.
Smirk. By the way, if Desmond gives you shit for being a clay, well, he'd been a clay, you let me know and I'll put him straight.
He's not so high ranked above me that I can't challenge him myself.
I know.
And since he'd likely make it a physical challenge, I think we all know about how that would go.
10 Point's hiding a smirk in Aiden's shirt again. Trying so hard.
Saoirse, there is, yeah. She's wow. She's now remembering fucking Jason's first change. And she just nods like, uh-huh.
Please tell me he sees some of that through the link, because he still has no idea.
When she remembers it, if nothing else, 10 Point will ever so helpfully offer her eye view as she remembers it. So it's not like perfect, exact detail or anything like that. But yeah, considering that she was standing back as the others repeatedly threw themselves at him, yeah, he'll get a brief kind of show if he tunes into it. Admittedly, she's not overwhelming his senses entirely, but he will essentially be input with the memories of, two Aruns and the battle raggy and everyone and their mom trying so hard to just pull him down and being so careful, and that poor china cabinet.
In our defense, it was all 10 Point's fault, is what he'll say. Looking over and smiling.
Oh, Saoirse will nod and she'll be like, I actually owe you for that. She smirks.
I did that?
Mm-hmm.
We did say you were a bit troublesome to collect.
You're a slippery little fucker.
So, when Saoirse will help relay the events, and she will give a little bit of a smile to Jason when it is known that she's the one that finally did grapple him.
Gives the whole memory complete with the sweet Jesus.
Yes.
I got him.
Finally fucking got this motherfucker.
Huh.
Yep. Go up to calling you, rub that right in his face.
Huh.
Yep.
I mean,
You rub that in his face. You do that.
Fatima did that to me last week.
Not quite as many times over.
It was a lot.
It was awkward.
She was fast. Kind of rubs her stomach, admittedly she still got the dress on and everything, but just kind of rubs at her belly area like, oh, she was fast.
He'll pat 10 Point's head.
Grimaces.
He'll pat 10 Point's head. I got her back for you, don't worry. I definitely got her back for you. Just see how fucking hard I hit her? Yeah, nobody fucks up my medals. Just pats 10 Point's head again. Says that no qualms about saying that nobody fucked with his medals.
She the rubbing hand kind of briefly derails from across her belly to a point on her ribs, kind of rubbing just up and down at once before falling again. Just
there's very brief.
So good.
He nods, but there's very brief, both in his face and in the pack link, because Jason has no subterfuge whatsoever. There's just this suspicious side eye.
It probably doesn't help that he says my metis, and 10 Point she just perks up so much. Like not visibly, but there's definitely the aw, yay senpai, essentially.
Saoirse's even taken to calling her my metis. Great.
I get protective over my back. Just smirk over at Jason as by way of explanation.
I see that.
Right, and we're protective of each other as well.
Yeah, especially that little second pounce jumping off and grumble, 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 you know.
She didn't mean anything.
Yeah, well, I put her in her place. It's fine.
I still haven't met that one.
She's very
outspoken.
lupus.
She may not have met Haruman, right? But she is not stupid. And had any of you been in the same condition and someone had done the same to you, she would have reacted just as harshly. She's a possessive of Pac.
Truth.
Mm-hmm.
She doesn't seem to hold grudges, though. So
most lupus don't. I have to learn that.
Hey, I hope not. She's a lupus. They don't tend to do that.
That's something they learn. That's not something
well,
they
it's
know.
Maybe not teacher.
I mean, Aiden will just shrug. I mean, some people can be pretty vengeful.
The only grudge we should teach her to have is one against the worm. And she'll nod.
It just coughs like, yep, some people are right. Shifty eyes.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, whatever. Not me.
I don't know. I don't know what you're talking about. I don't know anybody like that. Looking pointedly at Aiden.
Yeah, but I don't.
Jason is staring studiously back at that tea tray on the floor.
I don't get vegetables 10 point. I don't get vegetables. I get even. There's a difference. And
She thinks about that. She's like, we all got even.
Oh, if Jason wants to roll a perception alertness, oh my god!
I would be delighted.
Oh wait, there's two because I got what's her name. So
I feel a distinct obligation to.
Let me set up real fast.
My deck.
Or have we already been rolling in here? Fuck it, we'll just keep going. Do you have like an acute sense or anything weird?
Sight.
Do you have acute sense sight? Then just leave it at 6.
Just roll there. You should be fine. Yeah, you see it.
One.
There's
one
2
is all you need.
now. There's.
But there's one that Aiden, because you're in the link with Aiden as well, so this is even better. There is one that Aiden is specifically looking at that's cut out, almost used as for drinking out of.
Yeah, there is. Whether it's on the mantle or on one of the bookshelves or wherever he keeps it.
That's on a mantle. Specifically laying on a specific part of the mantle so he can look at it dead in the eyes every morning.
Yeah, there's
to clarify this, what am I staring at?
A human skull.
Very visibly human skull.
Yeah. Very visibly a human skull that has had the kind of the cap area cut off, shorn off, and has been engraved with various designs. And not work.
Saoirse actually glances over to it, like,
And yeah, the eye sockets have been carefully and cleanly filled in such a way that
And
there is more vigorous side eye.
And
like,
yeah, when he says I don't get revenge, I get even, he looks right into that skull's eyes.
So does Saoirse actually, almost involuntarily, looks over at it, like, yep.
That man right there, Jason, murdered my family. Points right at the skull.
You mentioned that.
Yeah. That was my first change. I was watching him shoot my father in the head. So I came here. Looking for him. I found him. Let's just say someone learned a deed name for how he died.
Saoirse will grin over at 10 point.
There's a flush of like almost like a satiated sense. Just flushes through briefly. Like, yes, I did good.
There's a reason she was named Thousand Cuts.
There's one thing, and we can brag and boast and whatnot and wave our dicks around and all whatever. There's one thing about us, Fianna. We'll tell you the romantic side. We'll show you the bad side. We'll show you anything. There's just one thing about us. So when we come for you for vengeance, we never hold back.
And we do anything for family.
Anything.
Anything. Imagine they all like simultaneously turn and look at Jason when they say anything.
Yep.
Into the creepiness of that.
They sure do.
At least 10 point reels around with a purpose because she goes to look him properly in the eye.
Yeah, I think all three of them do.
Oh, and we find your man, your doctor.
Doctor?
The reason for your first change. And we find the source of it. We will support you in doing whatever you need to do.
His brain is clearly hiccuping a little bit. It takes a second to process because we've just gone from like a variety of different concepts to something that he's been trying to ignore after that first blast from Aiden when the pack link went in.
Yep, and for what it's worth, especially like accompanying these words, 10 point in regards to what she's obviously talking about, which is the potentially very gruesome slaughter of a human being, is very cold about it. There's no feelings of potential regret for it. There's nothing. It's just a very dead, honest statement.
I mean, I think it's the same for all three.
Yeah. Yep.
And once Jason's brain starts behaving again, it kind of fastens onto Doctor, and they'd actually all hear kind of an echo in his head of the order over the radio that he'd heard immediately before Richard got shot. So if there was any question as to what the doctor's name was, we all know now.
Whatever you need to
And then
do.
there's just this kind of like, before he throttles it down, because he will spend the willpower to do so, there's just like red wall of rage.
I feel a sympathetic, responsive, like bristling.
Yeah, same from Saoirse.
Aiden remains calm because he's well fucking aware of that rage he's had his whole life.
Right.
He knows what that thought. He knows what that is. He just looks at him very calmly, very evenly. Whatever you need to do to get what you need out of that, to take what you need, we'll be there. We'll make sure it happens and no one gets in your way.
He kind of
Hi.
squashes it down, so it takes him a minute to actually say anything. And he nods. First, I have to find him.
Oh, we'll find him, all right.
I haven't managed to follow up on anything.
In the end, the name is enough. He kind of glances up at Aiden.
Nods. We'll find him. Don't you worry about that. And when we find him, I'll make sure I'll give him to you alive.
And we'll be there to watch your back, make sure nobody gets in your way, to help in any way you want.
When we find him, I will judge him as he deserves.
He just nods. Ain't gonna fuck with that.
Well, Saoirse's like, all right.
Yep.
Not gonna
Not
argue with the Philodox. Fuck no.
And then there's a big lion type yawn from Aiden. He just cocks out and just bam, gone. Because all that, his body just, it's just like, no, Aiden, we need to sleep, and just poof, gone. Out in Saoirse in 10 point lap.
Hilariously, the just kind of dunk is enough to startle Jason out of what had the potential to be a kind of furious mental spiral, which would have done no one any good. And he just kind of just stares at the now unconscious Aiden with this expression of, what?
And 10 point after his head conks back, just very gingerly reaches up and combs his hair out of his face again. You don't usually take the time to process things through. It's taxing. We're very hardy people.
Things can affect us differently as well. If we took that kind of time, it could have a very detrimental effect on us.
Hmm.
Oh.
Would you like to just stay the night here, Onrai? We can walk you back in the morning, early, so the Den Father can't complain. There's a spare room. Well, there's a room Aiden's been staying in anyways. If you prefer, I can
Sorry,
walk you back tonight.
Or maybe one of the kinfolk.
Best that if you're in the city, it's with one of us.
I should probably be back on Sept. Right. Yeah, right. That's...
She'll actually glance up to Saoirse and pulse a thought through the link, kind of inquiring if she would like the time with him to walk him home as opposed to 10 Point taking him.
Actually,
she has not had a chance to spend any time with Jason.
No, she hasn't.
Now.
And she was actually
distinct feeling from Jason, which both of them would probably feel, that he wants to go back because he is not comfortable spending the night, but he feels that it would be wrong to pull 10 Point away from Aiden right now.
Saoirse, as 10 Point pulses that, she will actually get the feeling back that Saoirse was already going to volunteer. Like, yes, that's something that she wanted to do.
So there will the thoughts sent to Saoirse will be in a kind of a private one-on-one. The relief that follows when she pulses back a thought will be universal, and she kind of nests further into Aiden's side.
Well, she'll get up and say, "I'll take you back."
Thank you.
Of course. We're in no way, shape, or form in the business of forcing anybody to do anything. And then she thinks about that statement and she's like, at least when it comes to people we like. So.
Right.
Well,
sorry about the teacup.
That's all right.
And yeah, Temple just works on getting Aiden laid properly down, grabs a throw blanket, and yeah, just nests up next to him on the couch like this is perfectly normal.
Because it is.
It is
So, yeah, Saoirse will walk out with Jason. I imagine they'll probably take the Ember back.
I mean, either way works, honestly. Both are relatively safe, question mark?
I think so.
But I will state for the record, especially if you guys do a scene for walking home, so you have a chance to talk one-on-one, that once the pair of them have gone and 10 Point's had time to obviously wind down a little and hits that point where she's kind of fading, she will do what she usually does when she's comfortable and warm and secure and half asleep, and start teddy bear mode, which essentially is just a slowly magnifying feedback loop of positive feels, which admittedly the two of them can block out, but it is a thing that just slowly ramps up and up and up as she amplifies, feeds it out. Anything that comes back in, amplified, fed back out, and yeah, it's somewhat overwhelming, and honestly, I imagine it kind of knee-jerk makes at least Saoirse tired because it's a thing she does when she's half asleep and held.
Yep. Saoirse will not block those out. She might temper them a bit so that they don't overwhelm her while she's walking with Jason, but yeah, she likes those feelings.
Yeah. All right. Do you guys want to continue here, or do you want to go in another scene?
I'm fine with here if you guys want to listen.
Yeah,
I'll creep on
here's
you.
fine.
Sweet.
Okay.
Oh, baby.
So they'll leave, and Sisha will look to Jason and she'll say, "Are you all right?"
Would you believe me if I said yes?
No, I wouldn't.
Well then.
That was probably not a question I really should have asked. However, she shrugs her shoulders.
It's appreciated, even if it's maybe a little silly.
I'll nod. How are you feeling about what happened tonight?
It's it had the potential for a complete disaster, which I think we escaped more by accident than anything else.
Tell you, that is the story of our lives. I'm sorry I wasn't there.
How are you supposed to know?
I mean, Aiden and I are linked together. I was with my girlfriend, and I sometimes block the link while I'm there. Well, not.
That
When
seems reasonable.
when the thoughts of or when the images of I don't ever wall it up completely. It's always just a little bit open just in case something happens. And when those images came crashing through the link, obviously I rushed home as soon as I could. But
I don't imagine it did your knight any favors, no.
Aiden's my best friend. We've known each other a very long time. We came to New York together. Well, we went to the Amazon first, then we came to New York. And if I lost him, especially after all the people I've already lost, I don't know that I would survive it. She says that with a lot of sincerity. Like, she really believes that if Aiden dies, nothing's going to save her.
We really are all a hot mess, aren't we?
We are, but I think that's the nature of what we do. When you fight a losing war, you have to hang on to those that mean the most to you. To hold on to your sanity, you have to form the bonds that we do. Aiden and I were cubs together. We had separate rite of passages because he got himself into some trouble, so he couldn't go
I'm shocked.
when I did. Right? But
Was it something big or just a lot of little things all in a sequence?
oh, he assaulted. He when he was a cub, he assaulted someone of higher rank. It
What'd they
was
do?
warranted. They said something about his sister.
I almost assaulted him in that first battle.
Oh,
Yeah. He thought it would be a good idea to use Richard as a way to teach me how to use the rage.
oh, She nods. He knows what he's doing. His methods may be brutal, but
He's an asshole.
She resigns to that and nods.
But he's your asshole.
Indeed, he is. He's. Would you believe that he's actually mellowed out a little bit?
Yeah. Oh, definitely.
We like I said, I grew up on Silver Tara, which is the Fianna Sept. Is where the Fianna High King lives. When he had his first change, he was brought there. It is also a very traditional sept. The way that they do things there would be considered cruel by the Sept of the Green standard.
Well, I get the impression that the Sept of the Green is a bunch of bleeding liberals as far as everyone else is concerned, so
that they are. And there are some things I can get behind and there are others I look at and I go, why? Why? I don't get it.
He shrugs.
I suppose because of where I grew up and now where I've been, you could consider me a bit more moderate in my views, but there are still a lot of traditions that I hold dear. And that's what the Seekers are about. We are about remaining steadfast in our traditions and honoring what we believe.
Well,
keep
I'm
this
from
alive.
California, so the only real traditions we have are looking for gold and wine.
You
much
still
to go
fit
on.
in. If you like to drink.
Yeah,
No,
I'm good at it.
but we're willing we're willing to teach, obviously, but if you value tradition, you'll fit in just fine.
Yeah.
We value tradition, but we also understand that there needs to be a measure of flexibility. As stupid as we think it might be.
Should I ask what it is you think is stupid, or are we likely to get into an argument?
Oh. Well, I very much protested all of the Garu being made to live off Sept. It's definitely not tradition. Traditionally, everyone, especially Metis, are given the option to stay or not on Sept. Cubs are supposed to stay on Sept at all times with the den parents. And when they kicked everybody off, with the exception of those that chose to live as the Bonars do, which I'm not above, but I have an apartment. I will go there.
I kind of like not getting rained on, let's be honest.
Yeah, she'll nod. I didn't think it was fair to, especially, and this is where I'm liberal in my views compared to my Sept. I didn't think it was fair to the Metis to be forced to have to compromise some of their deformities in order to function off Sept, like 10 Point having to cut off her antlers.
Isn't it generally considered wrong for a Metis to hide their deformity?
It's if for the purposes of trying to deny it, like trying to say that they aren't a Metis. But it's still a touchy
ground.
subject. Aye.
Makes sense. I don't think we're actually going to argue about that.
She'll smile. No, I was the pack that I was in before. I was with a Glasswalker and a Bonar. I got shoved pretty far to the liberal side. And I was with my. She's like, for all intents and purposes, my sister. She's a metis. She was raised by my mother. We grew up together, but not together, if that makes sense. The way that Fiona treat their metis growing up is. It's not the best. She was kept in a room
I got
in the
that
basement.
impression. Yeah.
She was kept in a
Oh.
room in the basement until her first change.
Wow, that's healthy.
Indeed. But I wasn't allowed to see her or anything until she had her first change, and even then it was definitely discouraged for me to associate with her. She went to New York with my aunt and uncle. She managed to study to be a midwife and has had certification. So she was going to midwife for them. So she traveled with them. And I ended up, after I graduated university, which I managed to finish even after my change, which is hard for a Galliard to do because of the amount of rage we have. Puts people off. But I still managed to do it.
Yeah, I don't see a lot of future for me for my degree either.
I have 2 degrees. I have one in ancient history and one in cultural anthropology.
Those are definitely a little bit more on the books and field work than
She nods, which is why it was
clinical
a bit
practice.
easy. Which is why it was a bit. I was able to finish because I could do a lot of it remotely, and the field work, you don't really have to be close to people. So, I would like to see if I can find a job doing it. I know that my knowledge has benefited the nation, obviously, but I would still like to. I would like to do something with it.
I don't even know what good an engineering degree would be at this point. So I'm back to square one, I guess.
I don't think so. Engineering? What kind of engineering?
Mechanical.
Uh,
I was never really good at programming, so
she nods. I'll think about that. Vilodoxes find it easier to hold jobs than like Galliards or runes, so there might be something out there for you. I know Jacob still works as a police officer.
well, people are used to being afraid of police officers, I think.
Well, that's true, but depending on where you can.
I gotta talk to him.
She kind of rolls her eyes a little bit at that. Oh.
Well, I mean, about Philodox stuff, but no, I gotta put in a missing persons report, I guess, or shit, I don't know. Something is wrong. Somebody is covering shit up. There's been nothing, no word from anybody official about the fact that Richard is gone. There isn't even news about the fact that my house burned to the ground.
Oh.
Which needs to get settled before I try and I don't know, call the insurance company or whatever.
Right, because they could say that you did it. Fuck.
Yeah. It's not even that though. If I start trying to do things like the right legal way and people come back and are like, what are you talking about? You're crazy. That doesn't work well either.
Well, I'll help in any way I can.
I don't know where to start.
Well,
And I'm worried that the longer I sit and stare at the problem, the worse it's going to get. But I don't know.
she nods. We'll figure it out. We always do. Just
Yeah.
be willing to accept
Aiden
help.
said there was some information turned up about a hospital. So we got to look into that too, I guess.
She she kind of like sighs a little bit and she's like, "What is it with hospitals? This is like the third time we've investigated stuff and it's led back to a hospital."
What were you investigating last time?
um, have you heard about the crab people stuff?
And is the pack link is still up, correct? Like he's
Yeah,
still part of it?
yeah, he's still part of it because he hasn't left her site, so he's still part of it.
Depending on how much attention she was paying to what they were leaping over to collect unconscious Jason. After they beat him down for his first change. She might remember.
She'll remember that. She'll be
the
like, "Oh
half
wait,
crab
never mind.
corpse.
Never mind." She'll think about that,
So
and then she'll be
when
like,
she
"Oh,
asked, there would
wait,
just be
never
like
mind."
just the flash of Richard's body,
Yep, she'll be like,
lobstered as it was.
never mind. Ugh, even someone with perfect memory can get clouded sometimes. I'm sorry.
So
So
crab people
well,
in hospitals, huh?
she nods. Like we are already been led to a hospital. So if it's another one,
Aiden said that there was some documentation that Richard had been checked in during the week he was missing around Thanksgiving,
she
before
nods.
everything happened.
My aunt is she she was able to get access to medical records, and we found that out.
Yeah. Well, when I find out who didn't tell me that my husband was in the hospital, we're going to have it out with them too. But that
She
aside,
nods. Whoever is behind this stuff, the crab thing, I guarantee is who's covering stuff up.
the doctor.
She'll nod.
Which it sounds like he is either storing experiments in the hospital or kidnapping people from it. So I guess we need to go look through those records some more.
Indeed. That's definitely a good place to start.
Maybe if we have a more solid timeline, we can figure out what happened when and maybe track it better.
She nods. I'll be able to. If I have all the pieces, I should be able to put the puzzle together. And before that, there was a bunch of stuff that was going on with the Weaver, and the Weaver had become hostile, and there was a hospital involved with that as well. Seems like hospitals are a good target.
Of course they are. They're full of people who aren't strong and aren't even remotely capable of defending themselves.
She nods at that. That makes sense.
How do we get a hold of those records?
Out of character, we have copies of them, don't we?
I don't think they are listening.
I don't think they are either.
Sorry. Copies of which
We have
records? The ones we got from the ship?
Yeah.
Yeah, we're the only ones with copies anymore. We're the only ones left from that.
Right. So yeah, she'll say, "Oh, we have them."
In fact, you
When
were
he
supposed to be
stops
the one who
walking.
went and cross-checking them with your kinfolk. So, in fact, you probably specifically have them.
Yes. Yes, I do. Right.
The trip back to the Sept stops rather abruptly. It is entirely possible if she was like tagging along behind him because he's got considerably longer legs that she smacks right into the man.
Yep.
Where?
She does. She goes, "Oh, back at the apartment."
And while outwardly he is reasonably calm, past his struggling barriers, his brain is, it looks like it's on acid. It is running in circles, and it is not very coherent right now. Like he's trying to process far too many things at once, and it's like stuttering.
I am trying to get more information. I told you, my aunt is Norin. I'm cross-checking them with her to see if we can get more information from what is just on the paper.
And he takes a deep breath to kind of steady himself, and prevent himself from like turning around and just charging back to the apartment and breaking the door down or whatever, because that's rude and not very productive since they finally got, Aiden calmed down and asleep. And that would probably not go so well if the door fell in.
She'll sense that, and she will. She'll try and like just comfort. She'll be like, "I can make copies of them if you would like, and I can give you a copy."
Yes, please.
I'll do that. I'll do that today. Later, tomorrow, whatever. I imagine it's very late. So, like.
And he gives kind of a jerky nod.
When I am able to go and have that done, I will do that and get them to you as soon as possible.
And we'll rather mechanically start walking in the direction of the Sept again.
She doesn't really say. She'll, they'll walk in silence for a little while. She doesn't really say anything else. But when they do get back to the Sept, she'll look at Jason and she'll say, "You're not upset with me, are you?"
Maybe some, but we've had a lot of things to do. I can understand not thinking of it.
He nods. I'm sorry.
We'll figure it out.
She nods. I'll get you a copy of those later.
And I will go through them in between my lessons.
Nod. I will see you later. Take care of yourself.
You do the same.
She nods. Oh, well, I'm gonna go take care of Aiden and 10 Point now.
He nods again. And we'll turn to head back towards the Cub Den.
And Saoirse will go back home. Kind of a little.
Dun.
Yeah, she's a little upset at herself that she didn't think about cluing Jason in a lot sooner.
And Jason's kicking himself that Aiden specifically mentioned that, you know, Saoirse had some information and he never tracked her down.
So it's a little bit both of their faults.
A little bit of column A, a little bit of column B.
Nice.
Everyone feels like an idiot.
Yep, kind of. And so Jason will feel as he is out of Saoirse's sight, the link that he had clicks off, and he no longer feels the pack in his head.
And Jason will actually pull a leaf from Desmond's book, and especially since he's already in the Umbra, since that's how they walked back, he will head for the training grounds and go shred one of the training dummies because he's a little shaky right now. He's got some rage to burn off.
And I imagine when Saoirse gets back, she just curls up with her pack mates wherever they are. I imagine they're probably in bed by now.
Oh no, not while they have company. 10 Point and Aiden never curl up in a bed together. Though
that's true.
If it's all three of them, she might aid in moving Aiden, but more likely the three of them will end up piled on the couch.
Okay, the couch then. Yep. The couch.
Nestled up.
Because Saoirse needs her pack blanket.
The meta security blanket is still active.
Yes. So yeah, she'll just crawl in with them. She doesn't really say much. They can tell that she's a bit exhausted and she just wants to rest with them.
That's okay. 10 Point's only very peripherally aware and Aiden's out cold. So I suppose this is where we will say thank you, players, for playing and watchers for watching. And we will see you next time on the Living World of Darkness, Rage Across New York.